Audiobook Academy Biography presents Steve Bannon. Breitbart News former executive chairman, Steve Bannon, has left the company. He also worked as the CEO of Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign and as the 45th president's top counselor. Steve Bannon grew up in Virginia and went on to become a Navy officer before pursuing a career in entertainment financing. He became executive chairman of the conservative Breitbart News Network in 2012 after producing a series of politically inflammatory documentaries. Bannon was named CEO of Donald Trump's presidential campaign in August 2016, and after Trump's election victory, he worked as a senior advisor to the president before returning to Breitbart in August 2017. Bannon was driven out of his post as executive chairman of Breitbart in January 2018 after parts from a book about the Trump White House were released, in which he was mentioned criticizing the president's family. Early life and service in military. Stephen Kevin Bannon was born in Norfolk, Virginia, on November 27, 1953, and reared in Richmond, Virginia. He grew up in a blue-collar, Irish Catholic, pro-Kennedy, pro-Union family of Democrats, as the third of 5 children born to Doris and Martin, a telephone lineman. Bannon went to Benedictine High School, an all-boys school, and subsequently Virginia Tech, where he demonstrated a proclivity for upsetting the political order by winning a contentious race for student body president as a junior. He joined the Navy after graduating in 1976, serving as an auxiliary engineer and navigator. Later, he worked as a special assistant to the Pentagon's head of naval operations and attended night classes at Georgetown University to acquire his master's degree in national security studies. Mogul in finance and entertainment. Bannon graduated from Harvard Business School in 1985 and went on to work for Goldman Sachs as a mergers and acquisitions banker. He launched Bannon & Company, a media-focused boutique investment bank, in 1990. He immediately engineered a deal that gave him a controlling interest in Seinfeld, a then-unknown TV show that went on to make tremendous profits through syndication. Bannon became a partner in the firm, an entertainment production and management company, after selling his company in 1998. He also spent more time working on his own creative projects, such as translating a book on Ronald Reagan into a 2004 biography called In the Face of Evil. Bannon became the CEO of an online gaming company, but his focus switched to political issues in the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis. Battle for America, 2010, a documentary about the growth of the Tea Party, and The Undefeated, 2011, a study of 2008 vice presidential nominee Sarah Palin, were among his highly charged projects. He also formed the Government Accountability Institute, a conservative research organization, GAI. Chairman of Breitbart News. Meanwhile, Bannon had developed a friendship with Andrew Breitbart, a conservative writer and editor who started his own website in 2007. Bannon joined the Breitbart News Network board of directors in 2011, and after the tragic death of its founder, he became executive chairman in 2012. Under Bannon's leadership, Breitbart shifted to the right, publishing anti-immigration articles, mocking political correctness, and attacking Republican elites, notably former House Speaker John Boehner. In addition to the provocative headlines, the site had a comments section where white nationalists expressed their opinions. Breitbart continued to build its audience through social media and international expansion while remaining off the mainstream radar. Bannon started hosting the radio talk show Breitbart News Daily in 2015, which quickly became a venue for alt-right concerns and frequently featured Donald Trump, who was then in the early stages of his presidential campaign. Trump's staff. Bannon was presented to the general public as the CEO of Trump's presidential campaign in August 2016. Despite some criticism, Bannon bolstered Trump's populist narrative, helping to instill fear of open borders and mistrust of his opponent, Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton. Trump astonished the mainstream media with his unexpected election day triumph in November, proving that his strategy worked. Bannon, who was named senior counselor to the incoming president, reportedly assisted in the selection of cabinet members and oversaw many of Trump's first executive measures, including the contentious ban on immigrants from 7 primarily Muslim nations. In addition, he was appointed to the powerful National Security Council in January 2017, a position that had previously been off-limits to presidential advisors. In April 2017, he was demoted from his permanent position due to a reorganization, but he kept his security clearance. On February 23, 2017, Bannon made a rare public appearance alongside White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus at the conservative political conference CPAC. The Trump administration's agenda, according to Bannon, focuses on national security and sovereignty, economic nationalism, and deconstruction of the administrative state. as well as denouncing the mainstream media as the opposition party and stating that the Trump administration is committed to carrying out the president's campaign promises. During the rocky early months of the administration, when key officials including National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, Press Secretary Sean Spicer, and Priebus resigned, Bannon allegedly battled often with other White House advisors and Trump family members. On August 18, 2017, Bannon resigned from the administration, citing a mutual understanding between Bannon and new Chief of Staff John Kelly, according to the White House. Departure from the White House. Breitbart announced that Bannon would resume his duties as executive chairman of the organization on the same day he left the White House, and he returned to conduct an editorial meeting the next day. In an interview with Bloomberg, Bannon said, "If there's any mistake out there, let me clear it up. I'm leaving the White House and going to battle for Trump against his opponents, on Capitol Hill, in the media, and in corporate America." In a special election to fill a U.S. Senate seat, Bannon went all out to campaign for former Alabama Supreme Court Justice Roy Moore, despite Trump's support for the establishment's choice, former Alabama Attorney General Luther Strange. Moore's victory in the Republican primary was hailed as a success for Trumpism, and Trump finally endorsed the fiery contender. Moore, on the other hand, was derailed by allegations of inappropriate behavior with adolescent girls before losing a tight election to Democrat Doug Jones in December 2017, raising questions about Bannon's political strength. Trump book and departure from Breitbart. With the publication of Michael Wolff's Fire and Fury, Inside the Trump White House in January 2018, Bannon found himself on even shakier ground. Bannon called a June 2016 Trump Tower meeting between a Russian lawyer, Donald Trump Jr., the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and then campaign chairman Paul Manafort treasonous and unpatriotic in the book. Following that, the president issued a harshly worded statement in which he chastised his former aide. "Steve Bannon is completely unrelated to me or my presidency. He didn't just lose his work when he was dismissed, he also lost his sanity," he stated. Bannon attempted to mend fences with the Trump family by calling Don Jr. a patriot and a wonderful man, but his remarks enraged influential Trump backers such as Breitbart investor Rebecca Mercer. Bannon stepped down as executive chairman of Breitbart News on January 9, 2018, and said he would work with the firm to ensure a smooth and orderly transition. Special advisor in House Narratives. Around the same time, it was disclosed that special counsel Robert Mueller had subpoenaed Bannon to appear in front of a grand jury as part of his investigation into Trump's associates' ties to Russian agents. It was the first time Mueller had been reported to have subpoenaed a member of Trump's inner circle. Bannon was also summoned to testify before the House Intelligence Committee on January 16, which was conducting its own probe into Russian meddling. The 10-hour discussion reportedly became tense, with Bannon constantly invoking executive privilege to avoid answering questions. Following that, House Democrats charged that the White House had put pressure on the former presidential aide to remain silent. Bannon took his time returning before the House Intelligence Committee, and when he did a month later, he enraged members on both sides of the aisle by only addressing 25 pre-written questions that the White House had authorized. That same week, he reportedly spent over 20 hours with special counsel Robert Mueller's team over the course of 2 days, purportedly cooperating with the questioning. Documentary and War Room radio show. Bannon spent the next year recruiting support and encouraging political candidates, both locally and internationally, to back his populist agenda, a process shown in Alison Klayman's 2019 documentary The Brink. In October, as the impeachment investigation of President Trump gained traction in the House of Representatives, Bannon debuted War Room, Impeachment, a new radio show from the basement of his Capitol Hill home. As co-host of The Daily Show, Bannon attempted to persuade Trump and his allies to take a more forceful, targeted strategy to dealing with the severe allegations leveled by House Democrats. Arrest and release. Bannon and 3 others were detained in August 2020 after federal prosecutors in New York charged them with wire fraud and money laundering conspiracy. During a fundraising drive allegedly aimed at backing Trump's border wall, Bannon and others were accused of scamming donors of more than $1 million. Trump pardoned Bannon on January 19, 2021. Only hours before he was to leave office. Thank you for listening in Audiobook Academy. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button for more content like this. See you in next video.